What's going on? Welcome to the first Q&A call in the Grow Online community. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited for all the new members that are joining and for the future members. And man, this is just a incredible community, and I look forward to just growing with you guys. The whole purpose of this community is to grow together. It's to align, amplify, and accelerate together. And the cool thing is, our competition walls can come down and we can just focus on growing together. There's going to be so much learning with everything that you know and I know. And we put those ideas together, come with questions. And I know this first call is probably just going to be myself, and that's totally cool. But I look forward to having you guys on future calls. My point and goal of the call is to kind of go through some Q&A and just like, how can we get everybody unstuck and just grow together? And so welcome to the community. I'll just give you a quick, let's see, let me share my screen here. Let's move this out of the way. So if I was to share this, man, I got too much stuff on my screen. So just to give you a quick tour of Skool, you've got the community area. This is where all the different discussions go. And so I've got a few comments here that are pinned, as far as welcome messages and community rules. Like, I want it to all be positive. Like, I don't want any negativity. If you've got something negative to say, to reach out to me on my support email that I've got on here, or just leave the group. Like, it's not worth having that negativity in the group. And so it's all for positive reinforcement and empowering others. And so that's what that's about. But come up in the discussion area and ask your questions. Like, if you've got a win, I've got a category here for sharing a win. And how you do that is you write it out with the title, write your description, put a poll out, put an emoji, a GIF. I love GIFs, so put those in, and then put the category here associated with, maybe you got a question, you want to celebrate a win, what have you. That's how you do it. And then when you toggle this on, it's going to send an email out to everybody and let them know that you have something awesome to share. And then if we go to the classroom, this is where all the different content, including this call right here, is going to be housed. I've got some information here on like just having a new mindset related to time and money. There's a lot of learnings I've had in the last couple of years, and I want to give that to you guys. If you're kind of new to the entrepreneur business world and you're like, man, I have no idea where to start. Like, I've got questions, I've got some big ideas, but I'm not necessarily sure where to start. Or maybe you're a seasoned entrepreneur and like you're trying to get clarity in some things, or maybe you're trying to figure out how to get a digital product online. Like, check this course out. It's kind of some neat things that I have learned, and I've also got a resource sheet here that's going to walk you through a bunch of questions to help you clarify who your customers are and how you help them. So it's just got a lot of good questions, and sometimes it's good to just take a step back, look at these, like think through, who it is that you serve. But I've got some good questions on here of like, hey, what age are they? What's their profession? Where do they hang out online? Where do they hang out offline? What's the problem that you solve? Every business should solve a problem. And so going through these, you're going to really understand who your customer is, how you can clearly help them, and what do you like to do, and what do you not like to do, so that way you know how to delegate and give off some work to somebody else that they can do. So check that out, totally free, and I'm excited for you to go through that. But I've got other courses in here. If you're interested in doing your own Skool community, I've got my full 1 hour masterclass here that you can watch and actually walk through the entire process of kind of like, why in the world would you want to even look at doing a Skool community? But then also, how do you set it up and what's the best way to set it up? And so that is all talked through in there. If you're trying to evaluate using ChatGPT or Gemini, which is Google's version of ChatGPT, I've got some different tutorials in there. And then I've just got some other stuff here. I don't have these filled out yet. We'll fill these out as we go, and we'll build these out together. So I'm super pumped. If you want to look at the calendar, like right now, I just have a weekly coaching call that may grow. I will have guest speakers in here, and I'm super excited about that. And so that will be posted in here. And if you're interested in doing like a live Q&A interview type deal, like I'm totally open for that. Like contact me directly and we'll set that up. If you want to look at the members, here's where you can see all the different members. Um, this one right here is probably my favorite. That's my smoking hot wife. Welcome, Cambria. As far as the leaderboard goes, this is kind of cool. Maybe you guys can help me come up with some cool, fun level names here for like different participation. So if you, it gamifies it, and so if you contribute and comment and like and share and all that kind of stuff, it's going to give you higher ranking. And so, what else is also really cool about Skool is you can come in here to the Discover area and you can look and see what other communities are doing. Like I've mentioned it before, like this jump training one is incredibly awesome. It just has all kinds of guys and girls that are interested in learning how to jump higher. Like I wish I would have had that back in high school and college. I've got ankle problems now, so dunking is kind of out of my, it's not in my vocabulary anymore, but it's just super cool to see people coming into the jump training course. I'm a part of it. It's a private free course, but it's just cool to see people celebrate each other as they learn to dunk. But you can come over here and look at the filters. You can look for or sort for public, private, free, paid, and then also, man, you can search for. So if we did, let's just do basketball. So all these different ones are related to basketball. Some are free, some are paid. And so if there's something you're really passionate about, you can check those out. Super cool. And so in this specific Q&A call, so I actually wanted to teach on something. All right, can everybody see that? Awesome. I'm gonna take a quick drink of coffee and then we'll get going. All right, so I want to talk about listening and elevating your voice. And this pertains to anybody that's in sales, has conversations with people, is a leader in your community, at your work, at your business. This is for anybody that's a business owner or anybody that has something good to say. I want to start everything with the Bible. And so if we look at Proverbs 8, 1 through 4, this is just power packed full of wisdom. And so listen as wisdom calls out. Hear as understanding raises her voice on the hilltop along the road. She takes her stand on the crossroads, by the gates, at the entrance to the town, on the roads leading in. She cries aloud, I call to you, to all of you. I raise my voice to all people. Man, I just think that is so powerful that there's power in the spoken word, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But like, if you've got something good to say, if God has blessed you with an amazing word, like this verse is telling you to call it out from the hilltop, from the front gates, stand at the crossroads and speak it. So don't be the world's best kept secret and you don't ever speak. Like when I grew up, like I was so shy. I was so timid, and just part of my upbringing, I didn't want to speak out. But a really cool quote that's been impactful to me lately is, "Don't shrink, don't puff up, stand on your solid ground." This is God saying, "Stand on your solid ground and speak wisdom that I have given you." And so there's so much power in the spoken word. So I just want to say your voice is valuable, even though you may not, you may have self-doubt that your voice is valuable. I want to tell you that it is valuable. You know, God spoke this world into existence. Moses spoke and to the rock and water came out. And when Jesus' name is mentioned and spoken out loud, demons flee. And when the walls of Jericho fall at the spoken word. I mean, how many more examples do we need of how powerful the spoken word is, how powerful it is when we pray out loud, or how powerful it is when we worship Jesus in song? And so this is kind of going off of that, like the value of which you speak has the power to add value to your product or value to yourself as your brand. And so I learned this from my mentor, Myron Golden, but there's basically four levels of value at which you can speak. And so if we look at the first level of value, that is implementation. That's all the doing and the implementation technical installation and that kind of stuff, service and that kind of deal related to work. Unification would be like the management level, and being able to unify a group of people, unifying a group of implementation folks. And so those different salary ranges are anywhere from the first one being 45 to 60. Unification is anywhere from 60 to maybe even like 200. It just kind of depends what business you're in. But for this example, let's look at communication. And that's going to be like your speakers, like somebody that's going to be able to really speak and engage people at the next level. And so those salary ranges are, 100 to 500K. But if you get into the imagination, those are people that are creators. They're creating new businesses, they're creating new opportunities. If you look at Jesus, he created this world. He spoke at a very high level that was easy to understand, but he spoke in parables. So there's so much value there about elevating your voice. And so if you're speaking at the implementation level of your product or service that you have, you may not be speaking at it at the highest level. And so that's where stories come in, parables. Jesus taught in parables. At the imagination level, you're really going to increase the value of the offer. You're going to help paint that story in your customer's mind of like really what you're trying to create for them. Oh, wrong way. So one thing I like is stop. We don't have to pitch immediately. I think there's a lot of power in storytelling. And it's kind of like my wife and I got in the car with a salesman a couple weeks ago because we were looking at getting a new car, and he just started pitching immediately. He never asked a question on, "Hey, what are you looking for? What's your dream that you want to see in a vehicle? Do you have kids?" Like he just immediately tried to sell us the car, and that's kind of like a doctor trying to give you medicine without without knowing what exactly you need. And so let's see. So one thing here, and I want to help coach is like how can we 10x the offer using an offer story? And I think the power of that is actually listening. And so I've had several scenarios where this has been impactful to me to where I was going into a sales call, I was going into a sales meeting thinking, hey, I'm going to sell this customer a product or service. I do a lot of SaaS, software as a service business. And so I was going to sell this product at 97 bucks a month for this one specific feature. And that's kind of what my expectation was when I went into the meeting. And after I got done with the meeting and we talked, like I just sat back and listened to him. And I actually opened up I peeled the onion per se, and I was able to find and locate like, hey, this is $1,000 a month opportunity because of the product and service and the detail of what he was needing. And so that was a 10x opportunity that I thought was 97 bucks a month, and it ended up being $1,000 a month. Plus, he needed a website and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of extra money on top of the table there. So a yearly opportunity there ended up, instead of being what, $1,200 a year, it ended up bringing $20,000 a year. So just an incredible opportunity just from listening. So just having the empathy to really get down and listen to the customer and say, "Hey, what are you trying? I'm not trying to sell you right now. What do you need? What problem are you trying to solve?" And so it's not about the nail. I can't play this right now, I don't think. So I'm actually going to put the link to this video in the course. But this video is amazing and it's so true. And so I hope you like the video. And so something I learned early on in my sales career was this process called LAER, LAER. And what that stands for, L stands for listening, A stands for acknowledging, E is explore, and R is respond. And so typically, what do we do immediately when somebody tells us something? We try to respond to them immediately. And so I want to encourage you that Yeah, here we go. So we typically just try to respond. And so next time you're in a conversation, whether it's a customer, it's a sales opportunity, it's with your wife, it's your spouse, whoever that is, like listen to them and actively listen. Don't be trying to think through, like, hey, how am I going to respond to this? But actively listen to them. And then acknowledging, or that acknowledgement section is playing back what you just heard. So acknowledge what they said. Hey, I hear that you said you're struggling with getting more reviews in your business. And then explore is, so help me understand. You can start it with help me understand. Help me understand a little bit more about what they just said. So help me understand a little bit more about trying to get more Google reviews with your business. And then that cycle can sit there and go back and forth. And each time you dig into it a little bit deeper, you're going to find that maybe the original thing that they mentioned was, excuse me, maybe that original thing that they mentioned, what is it, wasn't exactly what they were needing. And so now you've got a much better, clear picture of everything that's needed. And then at the last resort, after peeling that onion, you respond. And then it just continues on. And so that will go a long way with your kids, it go a long way with your wife or your spouse. And it is incredible in the sales scenario as well. That's kind of the same thing. And so if we look at this, we're really, when we're have empathy and we're actively listening with our customer, with our spouse, like, and we're not trying to sell our spouse anything. So this is kind of back to a customer. Why do people buy? Well, they buy because of emotion. And so you're really able to understand and uncover, like, what is that true emotion that they are desiring. And so now you know if your product or service is able to fulfill that emotion. If it's not, like, sometimes the best sale is being empathetic enough to say, hey, this is not my lane. Like, I'm not a specialist in this area. So, but my buddy over here is, and I, highly recommend them. Like, sometimes that's the best form of being in sales. So why do people buy? It's because of emotion. And so when you can start listening, you can really understand, like, hey, what are all the problems that my customer has? And now you can envelope that into a parable, a story. Jesus talked in parables. So you wrap that into a story so you know the origin story of where they're at now. And your product or service offers a new transformation, a new life. And so you're able to tell that story with the transformation journey, and that invites your customer into the hero journey. It puts them in the hero seat, and they want to be a part of that journey and ultimately have the new life that your product or service offers. So that's really going to help evoke the desired emotion into your customer. It's going to invite them into a story and then specifically be a part of that hero journey. So I really think, like, this is a true opportunity to have, just increase listening skills to really hone in on understand, like, what is that desired emotion of your ideal customer, and it's going to show up just like this. You're going to be more findable. You're going to be able to identify your customer, your niche. They're going to hear you better. It's just an incredible scenario of being able to find the emotion of your ideal customer and for them to be able to experience that with your product or service. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I will see you on the next Q&A call, but between now and then, man, just stay positive, just be empowered. Don't focus on the negative aspects of doing business alone. You're not in this alone. We're in this together, and I'm just truly excited to have you guys in this community, and I'll look forward to working together with you soon. Have a great rest of the week.